Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, boys and girls. Oh, I wonder if that was our detective duo. Anyway, not important. So to catch up everyone on what was happening, it turns out yes, we did indeed get a camper van, and yes, indeed we're going to go along with it. Yes, well, you will remember last time we were in the middle of being blackmailed by the police, which is all fine and dandy, and we changed the heart. We took someone's heart, Alice's heart. That's right. And then she still showed up in costume and decided to confess to our crimes. And now we're going to. Excuse me. Where's Soji? Oh, okay. I have a party here. Wow. Yeah. So we got a camper van. It looks apparently retro chic. Reminds him of America in the 1960s, whatever. And that's all good, right? About to roll out. Okay. So I'm supposed to talk to these people, I think. Wow. Okay, look at that. You get ramen. No. The point, the point. Okay, the point of the vacation, and I said this last week, and I guess I'll say it again this week, is that I need to do these experiments to finish my PhD, and I'm not going to be able to do that if I don't actually block time for myself. Yeah, so time blocking is one of those very interesting things that no one ever really thinks about. Sometimes we just kind of stumble into it. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I guess we can talk about it in the future, but for now it's just like a cursory yes. Let me write this down. Oof. Ow. I mean, I didn't really. I never really did any time blocking until I was already graduated on undergrad. Like before then, it was just I just did things as they came along, and it never really mattered simply because I was able to coast through it. Um, but but I kind of wish I had gotten into that habit before I started university, simply because I think it would have made my life a little bit easier, right? When it was just us three. Yeah, how dare you not remember the cat? Sophia's calling. Wow. Wow. Also, how can she not know what ramen is? She's literally on the internet. Isn't this nice though? Like, so in terms of nice, in terms of character development, right? Like these little bits and pieces are really what make a game stand out from just like a regular, right? So for example, if we were say like just playing Dynasty Warriors, there is so little drama that it's essentially just like, how do I say? Well, okay. So I personally obviously know the story behind Dynasty Warriors essentially by heart, right? Most I don't know, like Confucian dudes are that is one of our really interesting bits of reading material. Yes, Three Kingdoms. Um, really interesting reading growing up. Let me see, what time is it? Dynasty Warriors. I don't actually mean Dynasty Warriors, obviously, right? Because it's actually the romance of the three. Oop, can't type properly. Three Kingdoms, which is a novel, a historical, alternative historical novel. Alt history. Well, it's not really alt history. It's embellished history from the Three Kingdoms era in Chinese history, and that happened at what, like 220 BC? No, not BC. 220 AD, end of the Han Dynasty, and it's it's an era of like, yeah, exactly. But more to the point, it's like it's an era of heroes, right? And whenever you see the game being played like that, it is always how intriguing. Wow. Well, before I lost away, those people are gonna be so. You're so kind. Wow. Wow, she bought some games. Good job. Game of Strife. I like that these are all like just rip-off names of regular games. Ride an actual RV, recreational vehicle. Yeah, sorry, yes, I was saying the yeah, so to me personally, the Three Kingdoms era is it's sort of like it's a larger than life story about heroes, right? And like it's just really nice. I would heavily encourage you to read it if that's what you want to do. Uh, I think like were you re- were you one of the ones that was learning Chinese? Like, uh, don't use it to learn Chinese because the Chinese in it is well, it is what it is, right? It's both old and it's a historical way of speaking that emulates the historical way of speaking. So that emulates even more historical ways of speaking, right? It's like it's literally a dude from like 400 years ago, 500. Oh, I think it's about 500 years now. 500 years ago, writing and emulating the speech of dudes from, well, like 2,000 years ago, right? So you like don't copy the speech, obviously, but like the in terms actually, so interesting enough for Chinese, I should also write this down. For Chinese grammar hasn't really changed a lot, which is one of my personal pet peeve. Chinese cultural growth, right? Like we are in modern Chinese culture, we still venerate. Well, I'm trying to read without actually reading, right? So that's gonna take a while. Well, like we still venerate a lot of these people that um, lived thousands of years ago, and like no, we have no business that way. Okay, so I think we're done. We have essentially covered everyone that needs to be covered. Yep. Talk to. Let's look at the. Oh, thank you, Sophia. Fantastic. Um. Oh, hello. Wow. Okay. All right. Let's see what can we get here. Blended with placenta. Right. I was gonna talk about Chinese culture, but really, like, there's not much to say, right? To me, the like English has changed so much from 500 years ago till now, from 1,000 years ago until now, and there's growth in that language and and I'm not saying that like growth is necessarily good, but really, if you think about it, right, like when English was still going about like my boy William Shakespeare, people in China were speaking almost exactly, well, use not well, obviously for lack of different of newer words, but the grammar, the intonation. Well, okay, we're not absolutely certain about the intonation, but we're fairly certain that it is, because we look at poems that are written, right, and we have a fairly good idea of the accents that people had back in the day, and it's just like so little has changed in terms of grammar, in terms of word usage. Like, yes, we're using more modern words that have to describe things that never existed 1,000 years ago, but that's just slotting those particular words into a pre-existing grammatical structure that has not changed. And I will admit that partially the fact that Chinese doesn't change is because that the grammar is really simple, right? Like, partially, which is actually interesting. Interestingly enough, which is why Japanese is a little bit different, because there is tensing, and so therefore a sentence flows a little bit differently, or can flow differently, when you start adding stuff into it. Whereas in Chinese, because there is no tensing, you literally define when an action happened by putting the time frame before it, right? So if I wanted to say to eat, right, you would say to eat, and if you wanted to say eat later, you would say later eat, or eat later, literally eat later. You would say eat yesterday, eat this morning, right? Yeah, and do I sound hoarse? It's because I basically didn't sleep until like, what was it, 4:30, and then I got up at like 6. It doesn't, not important. Uh, it's true though. I think so. So my boy, whose comment has completely scrolled past. Let me just go back and double check. Hold on. Oh, right, mouse button. There we go. Oh, you know what? I see. So when I'm scrolling in here, it's doing interesting things to my body here. Okay. What if I minimize it? Does that makes it better? Okay. Okay. There we go. Um, I see. Okay. Yes, I was gonna say something, but I forgot. Not important. That's right. Not important. Let's just get back to. Well, no. Okay. So just one final comment on this, and then we'll get back to the video game. What was it? Grammatical structure means that change happens much slower, and I think that's understandable. If your grammar is not as complex, your grammar doesn't need to change that much. If your grammar and your vocabulary and everything else that's surrounding your culture does not invite external influence, then it changes very slowly. And so that's why we see English being uh, quite subject to change, because one, it's complex. Two, it incorporates a lot of very nuanced external influences, or it's absorbed a lot of very nuanced external influences, and also it's bloated and inelegant, and therefore it's always up for a shakeup, right? And like, if you I don't want to use Birmingham, but if you go to Birmingham. If you're someone who lived in, say, like just in London, in one of the better areas of London all your life, and then you not even Birmingham, you go to East London, right? Like the whole point of EastEnders is partly to have that, to show that, right? And I would argue personally that classism in England is partly because of language, right? And the fact that English is so complicated. Yes, I'll type it out. What time is it? It's 15 minutes. English complex bloated classism in England dependent on language, and the example, My Fair Lady. There we go. Good. Right? Audrey Hepburn, obviously. Wait, did I get her name correct? Let me just double check. I never remember anyone's name, so that makes it really My Fair Lady Audrey Hepburn. Yes. Okay. Good. Fine. I haven't made a complete fool of all good. Let's go on this road trip now. Okay. No more. None of this. We'll have our teacher driving. Good. Wave bye to the boss. Hi, boss. That's the spirit. I feel like this doesn't feel like a very big RV. I don't know how they drew it, but recreational vehicles are much bigger than that on the inside. Oh, he's sad. Usually serious. So dependable. Arrest is an inevitability. Wow. The girl. Not a girl. No. He's compromised. Wow, how nice. Yeah, it's time to defund them. That's exactly it. Yo. Tochigi. Isn't this lovely? Like, this is a game meant for Japanese people about exploring Japan. And we've talked about this in the past, right? Like, the Japanese market is very inward focused, but in the last decade, they found out that not only are Japanese locals really interested in Japanese culture and like reliving their how do you say their high school lives, so are people in the West, right? Don't rule out this. Well, let's not. Dried gourd is the best. Yes. We could just go. But we decided worthwhile variety of places rather than just one. Okay. Jails in other cities. No. I remain convinced that these types of games, that their designers, still hold the idea of the Japanese market first, for I think just very, very historical and very normal reasons, right? Like they grew up in the Japanese market, they grew up making things for the Japanese market, and it's only very slowly. And remember, right, like the original creators of Japanese video games haven't all died off yet. So we've talked about this before. When a market still has its sort of founding luminaries, it is very much insulated from rapid change. And so the only reason why there is this, slow opening is because there is simply so much money outside of Japan, and that communication is so much easier outside of Japan, with the outside of Japan, than it was prior to the prior to the year 2000. Japan's electronics were completely different from the rest of the world. The rest of the world has moved on. Japan hasn't as much. We still have corporations that are doing all of their business via fax in 2022, right? And that's, I wouldn't say that's fine, but that is it is overhead that is hard to get rid of if your bureaucracy is not willing to embrace change. Look at the blah 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 blah. No, unlicensed. We might be. I wouldn't want to. Yeah, let's take more breaks. Nice and well rested. Excuse me. Anyway. Yeah, and so because of that, because the original luminaries in the video game world are still alive, and they're still the ones that are dictating what gets made, their primary concern remains the concern that they have. Like, we are all still influenced by the concerns that we had when we were entry-level workers, and when we were moving up the corporate hierarchy, right? Well, except me, obviously. For reasons unexplained, I'm just different, but that's ND8. and you saw what Taba just said, right? A lot of people in Japan don't move about as much, especially those who do tend to play video games. Like, there is an entire class of people who go to work, go home, and spend all of their money at home. Right, either on video games, either on supporting the characters, or blah blah, all of that good stuff, pachinko, whatever, what have you. And so, oh, okay, you can use ingredients to cook food. Okay, regional shops. Okay, let's make some curry. Yes, and of course, curry is one of those very classic Japanese dishes. Yeah, sorry, my face is too big. Yes, I'm aware. There we go. Let's make it just a little bit smaller. There we go. Okay. Well, in part because Japanese curry is actually really easy to make. They tend to come, like, you can get by just by like dumping some cut beef and potatoes in a pot, bringing it to a boil, and stirring in the curry bricks that they have, right? It's actually really easy. So like, there's no reason why you can't. Of course, in the middle of summer, do you really want to eat curry like this? I don't know. Also, Anne, you were complaining about the calories from ramen, and now you're eating curry, which is literally just all carbohydrates. Fate is cruel. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Why don't maybe next weekend? Maybe next weekend. I'll just set up an induction stove outside my door, my office door, and I'll make some curry. And whoever is in and around this area, or if you want to fly in because you guys are boring as hell, We'll have a curry party outside. Yes, yes. Roast marshmallows. Roast marshmallows. Finish our break with some tea and then get going. It's nice when you have so many people, though, isn't it? Because you are able to quickly put together and pull apart something without too much worry. Where are we now? Sendai. Also, actually, interestingly enough, we should talk about this, right? Like, as a country, Japan is unfortunately hollowing out a bit, and what that means is that, as they've just talked about, that once you get out of the big cities, there's simply not enough population to really sustain much commerce and presumably, sustain a monarch in their jail. We'll do it all. Yeah, it's just like Siri. No, it's not like Siri. Huh? She found a jail. She's smelling something. Did she smell it off the map? Sendai it is. Oh, did we get to the bathhouse? Sendai. These are the kanji characters. Those are the Chinese characters for Sendai, by the way. Just in case anyone was wondering. Somewhere in this city. Sendai is a pretty big city compared to what? Mount Aoba Park. Wow, we can sleep in the car. Very close. Masamune. Take a trip of Japan with the Phantom Thieves. How wonderful. Is it time for us to go? We have like a minute and a half, right? Okay. So let's check out these shops, because obviously that's the very first thing that we have to do. Oh, what? Oh, did you see that salaryman? I don't want to go to a bleeding statue. I want to go buy something. Let me buy a drink. Of course, there's Eastern, Western. Makes you want to dance all night. Why would you buy this? What? What? Oh, it's for collector's purposes. Yes, okay. We have to buy one of each. Hey, look, this guy doesn't look so happy. Oh. Oh, no. Oh, you see that? Okay. We're not going to start the statue, but what I really want to talk about is the way that book is rendered. You guys see that? There is the yellow part on the bottom, the yellow and white part, and then there's the cover, which is obviously some amount of like weeby manga, perhaps. Like, that's rendered very, very cleanly. And is my voice different? My voice is perhaps different because I'm leaning really close to look at the cover of that. Oh, come on. Okay. Come on. Don't do this. No. Ah, dude, dude. Excuse me. Ex- Excuse me. Oh my god. Hey, I'm doing this off of an hour and a half of sleep. All right, just like relax. Oof. Anyway, what was I saying? I was saying that that cover is rendered very, very accurately. I'm very impressed by that, and I think yes, it's. I've wasted enough of our time today. So, oh, excuse me. I need to get. I need to actually get to the lab and start doing experiments. So we will end it here for today. Yes, 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 yes. Any final questions before? Okay, actually, you know what? I don't care about questions. Maybe a little, but not today. Any other questions? You make curry. Yeah. Next weekend, I'm down for that. Well, I'll make the curry outside. Yeah, we can fit what 50, 100 people in here comfortably. Not in my office. Outside my office. Yeah, we it shouldn't be an issue. Yes, please. Yes, please. Please arrange that. Okay, anyway, we are done for today. Thank you very much for watching. In conclusion, please download Firefox. Please don't do Chrome. And I shall see all of you potentially. Oh, actually. Um, so tomorrow, I'm not sure. Monday, I'm also not sure. But we will definitely resume on Tuesday, the latest. Um, Probably tomorrow, probably Monday. Actually, it's 20. Oh, it's the 21st. Shit. Pretend I didn't say that. No, we're okay. Tomorrow, Monday, probably. Maybe. Yeah. I'll let you guys know when I figure it out. Yeah. Cool. Cool. Okay. Thanks for watching. Bye. Bye. Don't blame me. Bye.